Hey guys, what's up? It's McNeil with another video here today from Louison Automotive. And today we're going to be talking about why are those small independent dealerships are closing down. So if used car prices are so high and dealers are apparently making a shit ton of money, then why are all those independent dealerships that in your local neighborhood, you see some of them closing down? So this is what we're going to try to figure out here in this video. For those of you who are new to this channel, please feel free to subscribe, like, share for all the automotive advice and automotive talks. If you're interested in being a dealer, we also make a lot of videos trying to help you guys get your license and understand the automotive industry. Okay, so we appreciate the early thumbs up and the subscription. If you don't mind, it costs you nothing. Anyway, let's get into that topic. Okay, why are those independent dealers closing down if it seems like car prices are so high they should be making a lot of money, one would think, right? But we did make a video about that where I did explain that even if car prices are high, the dealers are equally paying more money for the car, so it doesn't mean that their margin is higher. But beyond that, here's what you need to understand. When you see one of those independent dealerships, it doesn't mean that it's a small guy like probably myself running that dealership. Sometimes the big OEM guys own those little independent dealerships in your town, so it looks like a small mom and pop shop, and then they can sell you cars that way. I'll give you an actual example. I'm not going to mention his name because I didn't get his permission to talk about him in this video, but I have a friend who have a Ford dealership in Toronto. So he has a Ford dealership in the city, and he had a truck dealership in Barrie. So the dealership in Barrie was an independent name. It's separate from the Ford dealership. It's just a used car lot selling a lot of trucks. During the pandemic, there was another dealership in the small town where that Ford dealership, is actual Ford dealership, was struggling a little bit. Their family name chose to buy out that Ford dealership, and then as a result, there's no point of having that independent truck dealership and the Ford dealership in the same town. So they sold slash closed down, not sold. They closed down that Ford truck shop and just merged everything in that new location that they bought in the small town. You outside looking in might just think, well, okay, well maybe that dealership is doing very bad, so they chose to close down. But again, he just closed down to merge. It has nothing to do with the economy right now. It has nothing to do with that dealership was technically struggling. It's just a financial decision to kind of merge the business together. So outside looking in, you probably wouldn't understand why it closed down. That's one scenario. Second, some small dealerships are actually struggling, even if car prices are booming. And the reason is, again, those new car dealers are running out of inventory. Even up to this week, Ford, GM, and even Honda basically said because of the chip shortage, they're going to be manufacturing hundreds of thousands of cars less than they anticipated in the quarter. So which means, once again, the big dealerships, Ford, Toyotas, Hondas, all of those big franchise dealerships, those dealerships do not have enough new cars to fill their lots. So all the trading cars that they would have typically sent to an auction, where an independent dealer like myself could have buy those cars to sell it, I can't find inventory. So even if I'm in one of those small towns or those areas and I'm trying to sell my inventory and I can't replace the inventory that I'm selling, then I equally can't pay my rent, and I equally am struggling financially because I can't find the cars to sell. And I can't justify selling the cars to the retail consumer for next to nothing if I can't replace the car. So they're sending the cars to auction because they're getting more money for the cars at auction, but they are intimidated to overpay for the cars at the auction because they can't sell those cars. I'll give you an actual example because this happened to me too. During the pandemic, I made a lot of videos, and you guys saw me driving this Mercedes GLK. A lot of my videos, I'm in my car on my way to work, and that was my personal vehicle, like going to work with. I had it for a couple of years now. Why this is important? That GLK during the pandemic, I tried to sell to retail customers. And retail customers, because eventually I realized that business is slow and I didn't need two cars anymore, so I was going to sell that vehicle. So retail customers were not willing to pay me what the market was demanding for my truck. Maybe because it's a Mercedes vehicle and I'm like a smaller independent shop, they didn't want to pay the top dollar for it. I put it on Trade Rev and I got more money from a dealer in Quebec than a retail customer was willing to pay me. And that dealer will put it at his Mercedes shop and be able to sell it for a lot more money than somebody would have paid for it on my retail shop. what that does is, if we are now selling cars to the bigger guys so they can sell for even more money, and then now we can find cars, you find that a lot of independent small dealerships are struggling because you can't find inventory. And when you find inventory, the consumer sometimes do not want to pay you what the car is worth. If they're paying that much money, they feel more comfortable going to a bigger shop for some reason. That's just the way it works. And then you're forced to sell those cars to those dealers because those dealers are willing to pay you more than the retail customer is willing to pay you. And the vicious cycle goes on and on. And if you can't keep up with the game, you eventually close down. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some understanding why those independent dealerships are closing down. And I keep telling you guys, even if car prices are as ridiculously high as they are, it doesn't automatically mean that dealers are making ridiculous money and ridiculous margin. They're all fighting to stay alive by finding inventory, overpaying for them, overselling it to you until this problem kind of iron itself out. Okay, so again, if you don't really need a car now, you can stay on the sidelines. You keep doing that. But if you really need one, it is what it is, because the dealers have to pay what they got to pay. You got to pay what you got to pay. Okay. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. I hope that brought some clarity to you why some dealerships are closing down. And even if you see dealerships closing down, it doesn't mean prices are going down anytime soon. It just means they couldn't keep up with this crazy market that we're in right now. Okay. That's definitely not an indicator that prices are going down because you see dealerships closing. That's it's not. It's just, anyway, thanks for watching.